It's day 8 Midwest T-Rex. So it's been rained overnight and it's still drizzling some, so I had to throw on my rain jacket. Hoping not to have to throw my rain pants on for a while. So got the shuttle from around the bend hostel to Bly Gap, and I'm headed north up to the border with North Carolina, and then headed back south to Dixon Creek Gap, and then the hostel's just 0.6 away, and they also will shuttle from there. So today is planned as a 12-mile day. Yesterday was a long day. So it was starting to feel it in my knees, and IT bands are aggravated a little bit, and the toe that I injured decades ago in Glacier National Park with my brother is acting up and turning blue and red. So had some equipment issues with my pack. It has load lifter straps above the main backpack straps, and it's tearing away from the frame of the pack, and I expect that to fail pretty soon. Don't really want to try a different backpack because I like the one I have from Gossamer gear. I'm going to see about sending that back and seeing if they can repair it or not. But the winter weather, I expected there'd be more snow and slush, so sometimes we pack our fears with our gear, and so I brought stuff to handle the snow and the cold, and it's been surprisingly warm and dry in the past 8 days that I've been out. Just had rain first night at Stover Creek, and then the rain overnight continuing into today. It was supposed to stop around 10 a.m. but actually looks like it could just keep going, so it's all right. You gotta expect some rain when you're out. But anyways, I have 3.1 miles to get to Bly Gap, which is the Georgia border with North Carolina on the trail, and so I'll do some filming here and there, show you the border sign. Apparently it's not too impressive, just a small wooden sign, but then with that I'll turn around, head back south, and it'll be about 9 miles back to Dix Creek Gap, where I'll be spending the night again. They're having a special guest at above the around the bend hostel tonight. Fresh Grounds, who I met at Unicoi Gap, is gonna do I think a crab bake for us for dinner, so super stoked about that. So anyways, keep moving in the rain, try to stay warm. I think it's supposed to clear up and be sunny later this afternoon, maybe hit low to mid 50s today, so it's in the 40s, maybe mid upper 40s right now. So all right, so it's still raining. You can probably hear the pitter patter on the rhododendron leaves, and the smell is wonderful in the woods today. It's just very earthy, and it's fun walking through this mist. It doesn't smell like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan with the balsam needles, but the diversity of the forest here is pretty good. Lots of oaks and maples, seeing some holly trees, some mountain laurel, and just a little bit ago saw my first beech trees. They're always fun because their leaves hang on about the longest of any leaves in the forest. The wind's picked up here and there too. Some gusty winds coming and going. Might be as I'm bending around some of the hills, it's being blocked too. Kind of hard to tell, but it's definitely gotten more foggy as I continue northbound on the AT. Not sure I'll have great vista views to show you today. This fog looks like it's going to hang out here for a while, but walk with me up this ascent here and just enjoy the pitter patter of the rain and beauty of the woods here. Do you have a favorite place to walk or hike near where you live? I'd love to hear it. I'm always curious on places to hike in other states. You can leave me a comment about it. I'm definitely soaking up the beauty of the woods here. I've heard there's a few other places in Georgia that are spectacular too. Cloudland and I can't think of the other one right now that I was told about. Starting to smell some pines. There's some tall ones right here. Most of these national forests here were completely logged over a century ago. And the roots bound up the soil when they died away. Just the change in elevation and the amount of rain caused a lot of sediments to flow downhill and choke off streams, and it's ruined fish and aquatic habitat in the rivers. And so a lot of this land eventually reverted back to the state and federal governments, and so now these are mostly managed by the Forest Service. And thankful for all the places that we have in the United States to recreate and relax and enjoy our time in nature. The descents today are going to be a little more tricky with slick, smooth rocks that are wet, and I have to be careful on my footing for that. Right on the ridge line right now, so the wind's really picking up. Goes down pretty steep on either side of me, left and right. Been climbing for a while, and this on a sunny day is probably an awesome view. So I'm up pretty high, but just see if I can figure out the slicks out into the southern Nantahala wilderness. You can see some hills in the background, but it's otherwise not much of a view. But in a few months these rhododendrons will be budding out and flowering, and it'll be an awesome view. Got to keep heading north to Bly Gap and border with North Carolina. Coming through an area that's some big blowdowns. Some of them look pretty fresh with the saw cuts, but some of these have been here a while. But very impressed with the trail volunteers that come out here and clear the trail, all these blowdowns, and maintain the water bars and the shelters and the privies. And this hiker sure appreciates it. I know others do as well. So thank you for your service. Also thank you to the military members for their service and the sacrifices they make. There's a few veterans that are on the trail, you know, within 10 or 20 miles of me that I've heard about by word of mouth. And, I guess I did meet one veteran. I'm terrible with names, so unless I write it down, I don't remember for very long. So, but anyways, everyone's out here for different reasons to hike. And I'll have a later video where I'll talk about some of the people that I met and on the Georgia section of the trail. Oh, I got to duck way down on this one. Whew. Well, it stopped raining, but I'm keeping my rain jacket on for now for a little extra warmth. At some point I'll probably swap it out for my wind jacket if as long as the rains don't come back. But it's still a little chilly. Still in the 40s, so I'm still sweating under this rain jacket even. But cold, wet, and wind and sweat did not mix well, so I'll wait a while and see how it goes. So I just ran into two southbound hikers that said the North Carolina border is very close by. It's supposed to be a small wooden sign. And I guess it can be easy to miss. The people that first did all the surveys for the state lines must have been tough as nails. To cut away brush to get the line of sight and be out in the woods for weeks on end, marking the boundaries. Nowadays we have GPS satellite systems that make that a breeze. Here we are, North Carolina, Georgia border. Got my right foot in Georgia, my left foot in North Carolina. I'll explain the peace sign in a later video. This pipe's been here a while because it's growing around it. So I'm gonna walk a little farther here. Fortunately, I don't have to go up that direction. That's a steep, like, to the Bly Gap. Oh, it just started to brighten up. Maybe the sun's gonna try to burn this mist off. I was told about 1/10 of a mile up here is a very old gnarled tree. Gordon from Around the Bend Hostel said this was an old Indian path and that they would sometimes cut the tree to help mark that there were changes in the direction of the path. So there's a blue blaze up here. There's a spring. So I'm just going to go a little further in North Carolina before I need to turn back. But let's see if we can find this tree. double blaze on this tree. Top one's going to the right, so probably at the top of this ridge. Oh, it's starting to rain again. Even though the sun's trying to break through. Trail will be turning to the right. Bly Gap, and I believe this is that gnarled tree that is in the guidebook for the AT guide. Long overdue for a chiropractic appointment. Couldn't even tell you what kind of a tree it is. Oh. Some type of an oak tree. The little bit of leaves that are left on it are way too high to help ID it, but I think it's a red oak. It looks like there's some little points on the end of the leaves. It's usually some type of a red oak. There's lots of those kinds. Alright, well, this is my little jaunt into North Carolina. Now I'm headed back southbound. Not sure what that is. I have 9 miles to get back to Dix Creek Gap, and shuttle ride back to around the hostel. That'll complete all of Georgia and most of the approach trail at Amicalola Falls State Park, and I think that adds up to 86 or 87 miles total through day 8, and it's been beautiful. It's been tough.
Made North Carolina.
Sure did.
That's right.
Standing Indian shelter, right? Is that where you're headed?
Yep.
Excellent. So it's great to meet you.
Yeah, Cooper.
Cooper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a good one, man.
Yeah, you too. So that was Cooper. He stayed at around the Bend Hostel last night. He's from Pennsylvania, lives pretty close to the Appalachian Trail on the there's a splitter here. he lives pretty close to the Appalachian Trail in Pennsylvania, and there's some parts of the Pennsylvania Trail that are notoriously rocky, and I asked him if he lived in that section, and he said no. So but he's was able to train quite a bit. So he's headed on to Standing Indian Shelter. I'm trying off the top of my head to remember the mile marker on that. I believe it's either in the upper 80s or low 90s. So he's still got a decent hike ahead of him. So all right, still in the fog, and now headed south. So I guess I am redoing 3 miles of Georgia. Most people don't change directions, but yeah, I'm going to explain that in a later video. So anyways, I can turn it off for now, and once I get south of Blue Ridge Gap and there's some scenery that we haven't seen yet today, I will turn the camera back on. So the fog lifted here, the mist, in about 30 seconds time, just a little bit ago, and sun's starting to come out. There is still some fog on the upper tips, you might be able to see up there, but took my rain jacket off, took a quick break to have a snack and some water that I put some electrolyte powder in this morning. So thought I'd kind of break down some of my meals that I've been having while on trail. Breakfast has mostly been, I do what's called freezer bag cooking, where you put the food that you're cooking in a good quality freezer bag, like a Ziploc or maybe a Hefty. I use Ziploc because they have a nice flat bottom design now, so they stand up when you set them down. And what I've been doing for breakfast lately is use a cup of quick oats, and I mix in this is prepared ahead of time and put in the food boxes, the food resupplies that I dropped off and picked up. So a cup of quick oats, a quarter cup of walnuts, a quarter cup of protein protein granola, and maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of powdered milk. And so with that, I boiled 2 cups of water and pour it into the bag, seal it up, kind of squish it around a little bit, and then I put it in a what they call a bag cozy, and it's basically like the reflective material that some people use inside their car front windshields to keep most of the sun out. So it's reflective and insulated, and I just let it sit in that for like 10 minutes, and with everything in there, it's close to 800 calories, so it's very filling. Appreciate it, especially in a couple of the mornings that were near freezing. Enjoyed having that hot meal. And then I don't eat lunch in the sense of, you know, 1 p.m. shows up. I just, I eat snacks throughout the day, so try to stop every 2 hours to kind of refuel. So I could have, you know, as many as 6 snacks, maybe even 7 if it's a really tough day and my energy feels down. And that's a mix of a lot of things. Granola bars, trail mix, so, you know, stuff with gourd, you know, it could be peanuts and raisins and M&Ms, that kind of stuff. I love sesame sticks, so I definitely brought a lot of those out on the trail. One company I bought them from in Illinois, they have these honey roasted ones, and they are really tasty. They're high in fat, have a lot of calories, some fiber, which is important, and they're high in calories, so the fat helps sustain you better. I do have some, like, they're called Guts candies. They're a caramel with a cream center, and I like those when I know I got a steep climb coming up. Eat a couple of those ahead of the climb, just for a quick sugar rush. And let's see what else. I picked up some Cliff Bar builders, and yeah, it's kind of hard to get enough protein while you're out on the trail, because regular, you know, foil pouches of meat might weigh 3 ounces and have like maybe 10-12 grams of protein in them. But, you know, when you count in the aluminum pouch that they come in, the calorie density is really low. The whole pouch maybe has 80 calories, and that costs you 3 ounces. So these builder bars are like 280 calories. And then I pick up prepared cheese crackers, peanut butter crackers, and just sort of alternate between that. And then dinners are also been freezer bag style cooking. So I'm not crazy about ramen noodles, so some people make something called a ramen bomb, where they'll boil up ramen noodles and throw some instant mashed potatoes in it. I'm not into that, so I do the pasta rice sides, and use just a smidge less water than it calls for in the recipe. And again, have the rice side in a freezer bag, quart-size freezer bag, and I will, you know, if you're not out for very long, you can use the chicken or tuna packets in with that if you want, or a lighter, more protein dense option is using a textured vegetable protein. It's a soybean product. A lot of vegetarians eat that, and you just pre-soak that while you're boiling your water, and then you add it into your pasta rice side. And again, I stir it up good, throw it in my insulated bag cozy, and that takes 10 or 15 minutes. You know, shake it, massage it here and there. It makes a great hand warmer too. if your hands are cold. During that time you can, you know, get part of your setup for the night, whether it's, you know, set up your sleeping pad and sleeping bag, and if you're tenting it, or if you're not tenting it and you're staying in the shelter, you know, get situated in there. So that's one. Hi, Mo.
Oh, hi.
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Slack packing?
Yeah, I slack packed yesterday too.
Oh,
so I'm just doing the Georgia section.
Oh, okay.
For now. So,
oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So you got quite a bit further than everyone else who I bumped into who was slack packing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. So you're done soon?
Yeah, I need to head home. I have a frayed load lifter on my pack, and I've also re-injured a toe that 30 years ago I injured in Glacier National Park, and
That's a bummer.
yeah.
How those injuries stick around, you know? You think they're good, and then...
Yeah, well, the nail never healed, so it's always been really weird and sensitive to touch, and
Gotcha.
and then I also have a pacemaker because I have sleep apnea, and 6 or 7 days with a loaded pack is kind of rubbing it raw. So
Yeah.
so
That's a lot to contend with.
yeah, so yeah, no longer an aspiring through hiker. I'm going to be a section hiker, it looks
Nice.
like. So.
But then you get to go and pick better weather than in February for the rest of it.
But the weather has been really good.
It
I
has.
mean,
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for it to get bad, you know.
It will.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that is one advantage of section hiking is the
but
weather
the
looks.
Georgia section is still rough.
Oh man, it's super hard.
It's been.
We slack packed Unicoi to Dix Creek yesterday. That's like 16.7.
Yeah.
And I thought Trey Mountain was going to be the worst ascent.
Yeah, but no.
And there was that Kelly's Knob later on.
Oh, that was bad too.
Yeah, that one was bad. So.
Yeah, cool. Because then you have coming out of Unicoi that super steep one.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to Kelly's Knob, you're just like so tired. But it's still the same like elevation. Change. It's like whatever 700 or 800 feet per mile.
Right.
You know the grade. Yeah, that one was a secret ass kicker.
Yeah, I've been doing some videoing, and I've been telling people that the mountains in Georgia are no joke.
No,
they're as tough as tough can be. So, but beautiful as well.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, really nice.
Well, anyways, we'll enjoy your hike today, Mo, and you take care.
So you're finishing at Dix Creek?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've done 85% of the approach trail. I briefly went into North Carolina. The sign's like super small on the side of a tree,
like
so it's easy.
Very pathetic sign.
Yeah, it's easy to miss it. So you keep your eye out. You're probably still a mile and a half out, I think.
I think about a mile, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I know it's tiny. At one point I was like, oh, maybe I passed it. And then I looked and I like still had like a mile and a half, 2 miles. And I was like, okay, that was just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
On my part.
Are you going to Standing Indian Shelter? Is that your plan?
That's the plan.
Okay. You'll run into a guy that stayed at Around the Bend through hiking. His name Cooper.
Okay.
He's from Pennsylvania. So.
Nice.
So, anyways.
Nice.
But yeah,
Sweet.
it's crazy.
Enjoy the rest of your hike.
Thanks. Take care. Okay, well that's one of the aspiring through hikers that I met about 3 days ago. Did a one-day section with her from the Low Gap shelter north. I'm trying to remember where we stopped that day, but that was Unicoi Gap was the stop on that day. So anyways, I was talking about the pasta rice sides are something eat a fair amount of. I also like the instant mashed potatoes, and if you can, I like to try to find some French fried onions like you'd use for green bean casserole. It's a great flavor enhancer. It doesn't add a lot for calories and stuff, but sure makes it taste better. Had a little barbecue pork with it too. So.
What are you doing?
Hey, I'm going the wrong way.
North.
Yeah, well, I did it. I got to North Carolina, so.
Where did you start?
I started the same place you did.
Did you? Were you in my same van, or you were with Bob? I mean, with Bob, the younger 25-year-old guy. Did you leave at 7:30?
No. We had the 945. This Blue Ridge Gap.
Oh, you went Blue Ridge that way.
Yeah,
Blue Ridge. Done up to Blue Ridge.
No, I'm actually.
Oh, you're going to Unicorn.
I'm going back to Dix Creek.
Yeah.
To complete the Georgia sections.
Yeah. Oxygen started. We'll blame it on that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry it's the end for you, but are you going home? You're getting a rental car later, or tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
All right.
So yeah, I was originally Franklin, North Carolina was where I was going to get the rental, and then they were like jacking the rate like $325 extra for a one-way rental. So yeah, so I'm going to Gainesville.
Well, let's go to Georgia or to North Carolina, I guess.
Yeah.
Make my short video. It's nice meeting you, boss.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. What was your trail name again?
Slow and Steady.
Slow and Steady.
That's the YouTube.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Midwest T-Rex.
Midwest T-Rex. When I get to the border, I'm going to write it down. Midwest T-Rex. All right.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the best plan. Slow and Steady will get you a long
I was jogging
way
today, though, so I don't know.
Oh.
I have to change it at some point. I was just trying to stay warm in the rain.
Oh, yeah.
So I was jogging on the flats and down hills.
Right. It was a little chilly. Take care.
Midwest T-Rex. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Slow and Steady. So, a little story about Slow. Oh, we're getting all sorts of people. Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Mansfield, Ohio.
Close to it, yeah. Yeah. Good to see you, man. You had a good day?
Yeah. I'm going to be completing the Georgia section, walking back here, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How much further is North Carolina?
I would say you're about 1.5 miles out. And the sign's like super small on the side of a tree, so you can easily miss it. I mean, it's literally like a 12-inch sign, so.
All right.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Will do. Have a good hike, man.
Yeah, you
Take
too.
care.
All right, so yeah, instant mashed potatoes is another one. And the last one I really like is couscous. But need to add a little more water than it calls for because it really absorbs the water, and so I like a little more watery consistency with that to get it down without having to consume a lot of water, which is kind of precious out here. So yeah, so there you just saw a couple of more aspiring through hikers. Got a couple people behind me, so I'm gonna stop filming now, but I have a story about Slow and Steady that I want to tell you in a little bit. And Slow and Steady has a YouTube channel, and so yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. See you in a little while. Slow and Steady I met at a spring, or yeah, I guess it's a spring that was just southbound of Blood Mountain. And at that juncture with the spring, there was a trail that came in from the left and a trail that came in from the right. And because the shelter trails and the water trail markings are blue, I asked Slow and Steady, it's like, yeah, I'm looking for the Slaughter Creek Blood Mountain campsite. It's supposed to be in like 0.2 miles. And he goes, well, I've been seeing a lot of people coming up from the left. I think it's that way. So I didn't bother checking my Far Out app because sometimes it's just easier to just keep going. And so I went about at least a half a mile downhill, and kept looking around, and it's like, I'm sure I've done the distance I needed to go, and there wasn't anything that looked anything like it was flat enough to put any tents up. So pulled out the Far Out app. Yep, I'm off course. And many of my family members have said that I don't have the best sense of direction, and they wanted my trail name to be Lost T-Rex, not Midwest T-Rex. And so I also so actually Slow and Steady was wrong. Should have been to the right. And he kept going up, stayed at the Blood Mountain shelter, and he said it was like, oh, maybe 20 degrees, but sleeping on that cold stone floor, and you know, no windows, and it was really windy that night when I stayed at Slaughter Creek campsite. So I know what he was talking about. He said it was just a super cold night there, and but he survived it, so, and lived through the experience. So something you won't forget. So I guess the cat's out of the bag a little bit with talking to Mo and Slow and Steady, and so my goal, the original goal of being a thru hiker, and it was never gonna ever be a continuous march north to Katahdin. I have some family commitments, my daughter's wedding in July, and my niece's wedding in August, so it was always going to be something where I was going to have to get off the trail and start back up at another spot. So due to an equipment issue with my backpack, I'm hi. I have a load lifter on my backpack that's pulling away from the backpack, and once that goes, and it's very close to going, it'll start putting extra stress on the left backpack strap, and eventually it'll probably because it takes off some of the weight, the stress of that will probably affect it. So it's actually three things that I'm dealing with. Just an old backpacking injury, hiking with my brother in Glacier over 30 years ago. I had a toe that the toenails never grown back right. It's always been more sensitive to touch. I've taped it up good with Luca tape the last 3 days, but it still throbs when I'm sleeping at night, and also have a pretty bad ingrown toenail on my big toe that so I'll be seeing a podiatrist again when I get home, see what my options are on that. And then lastly, I have a pacemaker-like implant in my chest for I've had that for I think 6 years now, and it's supposed to treat my obstructive sleep apnea, but it never worked as well as advertised, and they consider a surgical success a reduction of the sleep apnea index by 50%, and mine might be 30. And it's a pain going through airports and setting off the metal detectors and having to pull my implant card out and stuff, because you don't always get to go through the more modern metal detectors where they can see it better. So I need to get reevaluated on that too. The heavy pack rubbing on it for the last 6 days in a row has made it pretty tender area. So I just I wouldn't be able to continue too far with the load lifter issue, and this is Hiawassee, Georgia is just a good bailout point to get shuttled to a town that has a car rental service. And if I'd go much further, it gets more remote, more difficult to extract yourself if you get injured. So so this through hiking attempt is coming to a close. It's a bit bittersweet. Met some interesting people on the trail, and I wish them all the best as they continue their journey north, and wish them the best. And I'll do a summary video when I get home and explain a few more things. But the peace sign in this last video of the border of North Carolina and Georgia is just everybody's got to hike their own hike and deal with whatever curveballs life throws at them at the time. And so my curveball was served, and I will just be a section hiker from this point forward, and there's nothing wrong with that, because main thing is just being outside and enjoying nature, and that's the conclusion I've come to. And anyone that's ever stepped out with the antenna going from Georgia to Maine, I'm super proud of you. You took the time and the effort to get gear, train, plan. About 30% quit at Neal's Gap, which was mile 31. And there's another group that by the time they reach Franklin, North Carolina, they're done too. It's just a monumental task to complete a through hike. Physically grueling, mentally grueling. But I do plan to continue to do sections of the Appalachian Trail as I have time, and so it's not over. But I'm at peace with the curveball had been thrown, and I hiked all of Georgia, so I'm proud of myself, and got to meet some cool folks along these past 8 days. So so we'll see what the next chapter brings. Hi. No, you haven't seen my face much on these videos, and not the prettiest thing to look at, but I see the chest mount that I'm using for most of the forward-facing videos that I've been showing. But so I'm about 4/10 of a mile from Blue Ridge Gap, where I was dropped off this morning. So that's the 6.2 miles that I needed to get up to the North Carolina Georgia border, and then back to the Gap. And then I still have about 6 miles to go to Dix Creek Gap, and then potentially a 0.6 mile walk to the hostel for my last night on the trail. But my battery's under like 30%, so I don't know how much more filming I'll do today, but just wanted to show my 8 days worth of stubble on my face. And it's sun's out again. It's gonna be another beautiful day in Georgia. So unusual weather really for February, and for the people that are going northbound, sounds like at about the 5,000 foot elevation in the Smokies right now, the conditions are not as great, and they've been getting a lot more rain up there. So but anyways, just enjoying my time that I have left here, and we'll see what the next chapter in my my hiking life brings. But I'm glad to have shared this journey with anyone that's watching the channel. So, and there'll be more videos to come. Just had a quick snack at Blue Ridge Gap. This is elevations 3,020 feet here, and sign for Dix Creek Gap says 5.6 miles. There's 4 or 5 people back there with I think they're like rescue dogs in training, so I'm probably not going to film much because of if they're coming my way, but also yeah, the batteries drain faster because I did a long time warp video and I forgot to bring an extra battery out on this slack pack today. But film a little bit on the ascent going up here, and one of the other reasons I haven't shown my face so much is I have a hot pepper bandana that's been tied to the front of my backpack for the last 8 days, and there's times my nose just runs nonstop, so I've threatened to sue it for malpractice when I get back home, because nobody's nose should run like that. And it's super annoying if you're trying to videotape something and you feel like your nose is gonna drip. And not to be gross, but it's actually dripped on my GoPro camera a couple times. So it's gonna need a good cleaning when it gets home. But hopefully you weren't eating lunch when you're listening to that part. But man, such a beautiful day. You see how quickly you can get out of some of these gaps. On one hand, not all the gaps have roads, but and the road leading up to the Blue Ridge Gap is pretty sketchy and steep and narrow. But thankful the Around the Bend Hostel offers shuttles here, because it allowed me to finish the great state of Georgia AT trail before I needed to get off trail. So yeah, some of the gaps do not have any sort of road access, but they're almost always at a low point, and so that means coming into the gap you might have a steep descent, which most people don't like because it's hard on your knees, and especially the ones that are, you know, a couple miles long and you're just continually going down in that repetitive strain on your knees, and it's not great. But the ascents are equally as bad with a heavy pack, because that's hard cardio. And I've noticed a big difference between my regular backpack days 1 through 6 and this smaller slack pack that I've used yesterday and today, that I rarely have to stop on the ascents with the slack pack. I may get a little winded, heart's starting to pound a little bit harder, but with the backpack on, there was times I was going 50 feet having to stop, wait for my heart rate to come back down. And so it's a big advantage for day hikers out here, that you get the scenery without as much of the pain of carrying a lot of weight on your back. And shorter section hikers, you know, they're kind of the next in between, where maybe they're only carrying, you know, a couple days worth of food. And food and water are typically the heaviest thing you're carrying. Water weighs a lot, over 8 pounds a gallon, so if you're carrying 1.75 liters like I am, you know, you're pushing 4 pounds of weight just there. And then usually with food, they recommend about 2 pounds of food per day per person. So my base weight on my pack without food and water was about 22 pounds, and it included some extra equipment I needed for videotaping the section of the trail. So fully loaded down at the start of a food resupply, I was probably in the 31 to 32 pound range. And I've seen a couple hikers that weighed their packs, and they're packing a lot more, 40, 45. Saw one guy had 51 pound pack. He's probably a college student, so hopefully in better shape. But there's a saying that where people are trying to go lighter weight on their gear, and that is ounces add up to pounds and pounds add up to pain. And yeah, I'm in my late 50s, and I definitely have been feeling some pain here and there. Calves start killing you on the ascents. And I had a problem with my IT bands before on long hikes, and just a twinge here and there on this hike so far, which I've appreciated because that's painful too. But anyways, I'm gonna try to get to the top of this ridge line, and then I'll turn off the camera. There's places along the ground here where the ground sparkles a lot, and it's there's sandstone here and there, and there's also quite a bit of mica in some of the rock formations here. So hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful day.
It is. It turned out to be finally.
If I get a nice scenic overlook, I'll show you. But yeah, you see the wide swath of high peaks that I can see right here too. Great day. Forgot to mention in the freezer bag cooking is, since you're not cooking your noodles or your rice, etc. in the cook pot, you're just boiling water. The cook pot stays clean, and the only mess you have is the Ziploc bag. And so you just zip it shut and then put it in with your trash. So it's super easy cleanup. And now you do have some limitations there. You have to have like packaged meals that are quick cooking, like couscous and instant mashed potatoes and that. But there's still enough variety and flavors for that you can mix it up a bit. And you know, these hiking days have been long. I've the first 6 days I was a little later getting out of camp. Usually I think 8:30 was the earliest day I got out of camp, where I knew the hike was going to be a little longer that day. But I've probably been averaging with my full pack weight probably like 1.8 miles per hour, maybe 2 at times. So when you have to stop to do water, and that's typically, there's quite a few of the water sources aren't right on the trail, so you have to walk off a ways to get water. I think the farthest I went for water was about a quarter of a mile, but it was a quarter of a mile straight down a ravine, so it took a lot of energy to get back up. And I use chemical disinfection, which had I known it was going to be so warm here, I would have used a filter system. There's a company called Sawyer that has the Sawyer Squeeze is probably the most popular model, but so it has like a 0.1 micron filter, so it filters out Giardia and all those other sort of waterborne pathogens that you don't want to catch. But those types of filters are damaged and no longer have their filter efficiency if they freeze. And so I was worried about that happening. So the Aquamira is a good option, and it can also be a backup option too, because the 2 little vials that you have to pre-mix for 5 minutes, I think together they weigh about 2 ounces, and you can disinfect about 30 gallons of water. And I wasn't drinking enough water most days. It's just hard to keep up with the amount of sweating you're doing. But I would say some days I was drinking 3 liters of water and then using 2 or 3 cups more for cooking each meal. So so the Aquamira, you know, would last you quite a while out here on the trail. I think they changed the design of their bottles. They used to be square, and now they're rounded. And I have had problems with the caps are screw-on caps, and sometimes they leak. It's a big rock. So that's something you have to make sure that you just tighten it up as best you can. And I kind of wonder if maybe the change in altitude over the course of the day, or the cold temperatures and the warm-up, causes those bottles to leak a little bit. But my preferred method would be to use a Sawyer squeeze filter, just not in cold weather. This isn't the last white blaze they'll see on the Appalachian Trail, but I wanted to take a minute and express my thankfulness for my wife. Without her love and support and putting up with me for the past 30 some years, that I'm able to be here, present in this time. And I love her so much, and our wonderful daughters and their significant others, and my brother and sister and their families, significant others. Just appreciate all they do for us and me. But I'm also thankful for visionaries that like Teddy Roosevelt, that came up with his administration, the idea of protecting areas that national parks, they're just awe-inspiring, the beauty of them. And then I'm also thankful for local, state, national forests, and those national parks that also tie this 14 state, 2,200 mile wilderness together. It deserves the protection, proper funding, because we've all been to places when we were little kids, or as parents we brought our children or grandchildren, or maybe even our great-grandchildren, to places like this, and we want to have them around for future generations to also experience that joy and wonder. And so on this national jewel, I'm also thankful for the Appalachian Trail Conservancy and 30 plus trail clubs across the 14 states that maintain it. And if you live near the trail, if you're lucky to live near the trail, I encourage you to consider volunteering at your local trail club, or donate to your trail club, to help preserve this beauty. I've seen kids as young as 3 or 4 out here on the trail in these past 8 days, and I've seen people that could be in their 80s out here, and we're all here to enjoy being in nature. So anyways, I'm thankful for these past 8 days in Georgia. I'm thankful for this old friend. This isn't the last time I'll see you, but until then, love and peace. Midwest T-Rex signing out. Here are the hostile kitties. You like kitties?
So some of the Scottish accents are way out there.
Yeah. So I'm cleaned up from this is day 8, summary. It's about 12.6 miles. Made it to the North Carolina border, so I'm officially completed all the AT trail in Georgia, and staying my last night here at Around the Bend hostel. It's a great place to stay. Recommended if you're in the Hiawassee area. And then in a upcoming video or previous video, we talked about a guy named Fresh Grounds that comes around and does hiker stops and feeds us all. So he came to the hostel tonight and did a yeah, very good food. Did a low country boil for us. A lot of shrimp, crab legs, potatoes, onions, celery.
Got a couple hot coffees, you want?
Thank you. So that was a treat to meet him once and actually meet him twice. So I think that's all I need to say right now. Definitely feeling the mileage in the knees and the hips. So anyways, hope everyone's been enjoying the videos.